Welcome to the What is Stoicism podcast.
When we feel disturbed by an event, whether it's unfolding now or looming on the horizon, it can help to ask ourselves a few questions. Are we ignoring or distorting objective details about the situation? Are we exaggerating its severity or imagining disastrous consequences where none are likely? Are we focusing only on appearances rather than probing deeper into the truth of the matter? That we'd even need to ask these questions speaks to a very human tendency. We catastrophize. We take the raw material of our impressions and begin spinning them into worst-case scenarios. An offhand remark becomes an attack. A delay becomes a disaster. A possibility becomes a guarantee of doom. What we should be doing instead is decatastrophizing. This involves stepping back and assessing situations as they are, not as we fear they might become. It means applying our reason to test the impressions that arise and challenging them to justify themselves. Epictetus, the Stoic philosopher, urged us not to accept unexamined impressions any more than we'd let a stranger enter our home without identification. In his discourses, he says, "For just as Socrates used to say that we are not to live an unexamined life, so neither are we to accept an unexamined impression, but to say, 'Stop, let me see what you are and where you come from.' Just as the night watchmen say, 'Show me your token.' Have you that token from nature, which every impression must have, if it is to be accepted?" End quote. It's a wise little policy. No impression gains entry without showing its credentials. This practice of internal scrutiny is a form of cognitive restructuring. It allows us to put some distance between the event and our interpretation of it. And in that space, we gain the freedom to respond thoughtfully instead of reacting reflexively. That's how we begin to see things more clearly. Epictetus continues in his Enchiridion with practical guidance. Quote, "Does someone take his bath quickly? Do not say that he does it badly, but that he does it quickly. Does someone drink a great quantity of wine? Do not say that he drinks badly, but that he drinks a great quantity. For unless you understand the judgment from which he acts, how should you know that he is acting badly? And thus it will not come to pass that you receive convincing impressions of some things, but give your assent to different ones." Here the message is simple but powerful. Resist the urge to layer judgment onto observation. Say only what is, not what you think it means. This habit builds a strong foundation for facing life with clarity and calm. But what about events we can't control at all? What about tragedy, misfortune, or loss? This is where the Stoic concept of fate comes in. The ancient Stoics believed that everything happens according to grand design. All events are bound to happen. And yet they also believed in free will. This may sound like a paradox, but here's the practical takeaway. While we can't always prevent misfortune, we're still free to prepare ourselves for it. Seneca offers a stern but empowering reminder in his 98th letter to Lucilius. Quote, "Though a man may be prudent, though he conduct all his interests with well-balanced judgment, though he attempt nothing beyond his power, he will not attain the good which is unalloyed and beyond the reach of threats, unless he is sure in dealing with that which is unsure." Even if we make every rational choice, fate can still find us. Understanding this doesn't make us passive, it makes us ready. We know that misfortunes are part of the natural order. We're not blindsided when they arrive. Instead, we respond with steadiness and strength. Seneca continues, "With all prejudice laid aside, you will perceive and acknowledge that there is no utility in all these desirable and beloved things, unless you equip yourself in opposition to the fickleness of fate and its consequences, and unless you repeat to yourself often and uncomplainingly, at every mishap, the words, 'Heaven decreed it otherwise.'" Here we move from passive acceptance to active fortitude. And better yet, we can go further still, not just accepting what happens, but trusting that it may be even better than we expected. Seneca closes with a more courageous phrase, "No, rather," to adopt a phrase which is braver and nearer the truth, one on which you may more safely prop your spirit. Say to yourself, Whenever things turn out contrary to your expectation, heaven decreed better. This finally is the Stoic ideal, to prepare our minds so thoroughly and examine our impressions so honestly that when adversity strikes, we neither crumble nor curse our fate. Instead, we meet life's trials as opportunities to live with greater wisdom, courage, and grace. In this way, the practical path is clear. Examine your impressions, guard your mind, and train your soul to say, calmly, sincerely, and without complaint, heaven decreed better.